I love that we live in a world that if no one else is going to champion for Rhea Seehorn, Vince Gilligan sure as hell is. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. I've watched this a long time, like a few days ago, and it has not left my brain. And even though I'm already talking about 2 shows on the channel, which is sort of my limit, there's no way that I can't talk about Pluribus. It is so good, and it is right in my wheelhouse. It's 2 episodes of perfection that I've watched, and I can't shake the feeling of talking about it. Can't shake the feel of like dissecting it and thinking about it in my brain. So Vince Gilligan has made me break my rule, and I have now added a 3rd show to talk about on this channel. It is called Pluribus. It's his new genre bending. I would say black comedy / drama, black dramedy. About a woman named Caul, who's an author, and ends up in a world, post-apocalyptic world, where everyone is taken by a virus and sort of becomes this hive mind together, this one big collective. Almost like if you're a Star Trek fan, think of it like the Borg. They become this one big collective, and she is one of 13 that are not affected by this virus, that they are still within their right mind. They are not a part of the hive. That's generally the story. And normally I don't get into the nuts and bolts of plot and episodes on the first couple of episodes, because I want people to sort of get into it, but I got to talk about this, because this is a really, really fantastic show. I'm going to talk about the first 2 episodes, because that's sort of how they released it. And it works because the first episode is it is very much a pilot episode where it's sort of kicking off the rest of the show. So you kind of need to have 1 and 2 to sort of get into the nuts and bolts of it. But the first 2 episodes, the first one's called We Is Us, and the second is called Pirate Lady. Let's talk about the title real quick, just in case no one's aware. Pluribus comes from the Latin term e pluribus unum, which of many, one. So from many, of many, one, which is kind of the hive mind. Of all the people, we are now one. It's set in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You know, Vince loves that New Mexico vibe. And we begin the series off about 500, maybe 439, 440 some days before D-Day, if you will, before Virus Day. And we're seeing things happening in space that are leading to the idea that this is taking place. You're seeing scientists, you're watching the scientists sort of break down what's happening. Meanwhile, while that is going on, Caul has released a new book. It's a fantasy romance book. She's doing it to make money. Fans love it. She hates it. She loathes the idea of the book that she's creating, and that these people keep eating this BS up. She wants to be considered to be a quote unquote real writer. She has a book that no one's seen the light of day. Helen hasn't even touched it. Helen is her right-hand man. It's her manager, her friend, her confidant. It's a person who rides with her wherever she's going on these book tours. But she's doing a book signing, book reading. What's great about Vince is that he is very good at sort of putting things in the background, and instead of telling us as an audience what's going on, you kind of just have to infer it. And so one of the first things that just kicked into the brain is when they get to leave the tour and get into their car, Helen says, "No, there's no way in hell you're driving," because she's been drinking. And then there's a breathalyzer on the car. Like, you can't start the car without a breathalyzer, which means that Caul has had some sort of situation with alcohol, which leads us to believe that she's repressing things. So it just, within just the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the episode, you sort of get character pieces about who Caul is as a person, just off of that small little segment. So she is sad and depressed about what her life has become. She's rich. She's making money. She's doing well. She's known to a group of people, but she lives in this sort of like sadness. Times goes through, we're seeing, you know, the science, the lab go through the process of like, hey, People are bringing donuts. It is funny to watch the comedy of errors that happens and how this virus is spread. And it's weird because the virus is spread through mouth to mouth contact. That they have to do like a kissing and open their mouth. It's intense, but also kind of funny in like a humorous, like, oh god, this is uncomfortable way. Um, but they do that, it starts spreading. It spreads like a fire. And once it spreads, each person then knows each other's thoughts. So whoever the host that they take over, let's say they take over Helen, which they do eventually, they know all of Helen's thoughts. And so then they just collect all the other, so all the thoughts of everybody in the world, president, whomever it is, they all are now, it's almost like the Matrix. Like you plug in and basically now everybody in the world can read thoughts. Like I can now fly a plane because I know I have a great pilot, a part of the hive, and I can just now go up and fly a plane without thinking about it. If I've never had any plane training whatsoever, like it's fascinating stuff to play around with. We see the sort of outbreak spread happen, go on, and then we kind of drop Carol right in the middle of it all. She and Helen go to like commiserate after a book signing, and they go to a bar, and we're in it now. Like the game's afoot, and Carol goes out with Helen to get a smoke. Then we see a person drive drive a truck into another car, and then Carol goes to go check on them. He starts freaking out, and then she sees that Helen starts shaking and getting into a situation. She gets super concerned, puts Helen in the truck. It's a whole fiasco. But Carol is thinking like, "Hey, something's happening with my friend. Like, what is going on?" She gets Helen into a car, to the truck bed. It's truck back to the hospital. But basically, Helen is gone. But while she's at the hospital, people within the hive start talking to Carol, and they call her by her name, and they start giving her information by her name. And I just, Carol's like, what the hell is happening here? Like, how do you people know me? Like, what are you guys doing? It's at that point that they give her the heads up, like, hey, go home for a while, stay home for a few days. We got to clean up the world. We have to do some things. We have to fix some things. We don't know why you're not a part of us. This seems weird. We're gonna get to the bottom of that. So go home, get some rest. Don't freak out, because you're probably not going to want to watch all this destruction that we're about to do. And then we'll get back to you, and we will reach out to you to tell you when it's good to come on back out. And once we figure out what it is that we can do to sort of fix you and bring you back into this hive-like world. She takes Helen's body and she goes back to her home. She drags it all in. When she gets there, there's kids outside because she's freaking out about like, oh, I don't have my keys. I forgot about my keys. And these two kids, neighbors, come by and it's like, hey, don't forget your keys are under the flower pot, or I think under the flower pot or under the rug or something like that. They tell her where the keys are, and is remembered because Helen's memories are with them because they're all connected. She's like, yeah, remember that one time that we went to this and this and this and this? That's where the keys are. And she's like, what the hell is happening? She then goes inside, and this is another small thing, but you think about how would the virus hive know to have a person standing by on TV to speak to Carol? And you think about it like, oh, Helen would know how Carol would go about finding out information, or how she would go about the news. Like they would know that she's going to eventually try to turn on the news and get on the channel. So let's be prepared. And that's how it is. And it is hilarious. Like it is both like I can feel the chills on my spine about how they would know that and how they would get that information, but how well they're like, we're just going to wait. We're going to calmly wait. Because these folks are docile. This virus is not making people angry, and these aren't aliens. This is a virus that is sort of been combined. But Carol gets home and starts looking through the TV to try to get some information, try to make a call, try to get some news or info about what the hell is going on. Mainly to see if she's the only one who's not under attack, in effect. She turns on the channel and there's somebody who's presenting there, waiting for her. Like you can see him coughing. Like, well, we'll just wait till she gets on the air. Like, oh, she's here. Oh, hi, Carol. She calls in, and they have a conversation through the TV back and forth. she's asking like, what the hell is happening? Who are you? He's like, we are we. He keeps repeating that we are us. They don't refer to themselves as each other's person. They do know whose body it is that they've taken over and the thoughts that they have. But at that point, they are all referring to themselves as one. Like, we are one, we are us, which pluribus. But he says that there's a psychic flu that's come from above that has sort of bound all of us. We're not aliens, but we're something different. And so she's like, in this conversation with you talking to me, you're talking to all of us. We're all getting this information and talking to you at once at the exact same time. So at that point, it's like, look, we're going to figure out what happened to you, and why you're different, and then we're going to fix it. And it's a calm thing, it's not a matter of like, we're going to kill you, but for Carol, it's like, you're going to strip everything that makes me a human away to put me into your collective. What? No, that is, for her, that is killing her. But they're kind of just like, we'll make you one. Sit back, relax, calm down. Yeah, she is not about that at all. That's kind of the end of the first episode. We then bleed right into the end of to the beginning of the second episode, where Carol is drunk. She is drunk as a skunk. Which leads you to say again what we learned in the first episode, where there is a reliance on alcohol when she gets stressed or nervous or saddened. That key element is a part of all of this. She wraps up Helen and plans to give her a burial in her backyard, but it's like the burial, it's going to be hard. It's hard to dig. It's hot. It's going to cause heat stroke. And so I'm going to refer to them as them. They send over a proxy through a lady to give Carol the heads up, like, hey, we're concerned that you may have heat stroke or may get heat stroke. You need to start drinking some water. You might need to pace yourself a little bit. We can find out a better way to dig into this ground if you need to. And Carol's like, well, how the hell do you know what I'm doing back here? Like, are you watching me? Is it like there's something around? And she points to a drone in the sky. She's like, yeah, there's a drone up there. You can't see it, but it's there. It's fine. It's not armed. There's no weapons on it. But we're here to just try to keep you healthy and safe. And it's interesting in that like they don't want to kill her or harm her. They just feel the best thing for her, which would bring her inside and be a part of the hive. And until they figure out how to do that, they want to protect her and make sure that she is okay, so that when they do bring her into the hive, they'll get all her information, they'll get her all intact, and that she's not going to be damaged or harmed in that situation. Now the hive has sent to Carol sort of a companion that looks like the pirate person on her books. It looks like the female version of the pirate that's in her books. Now, the original pirate that she had when she first wrote this book was a female. Helen knew that, and so that's what they sent her. They sent her something that is to the core memories of who Carol is and what she does. And that's a cheap trick that they use, but they know more about her, and they are willing to sort of push those buttons to give her what it is that she needs, but also to sort of make her feel at one and at peace. So she calls her name. We eventually learn that her name is Zosha, but in this moment, she calls her Pirate Lady for the first couple of times until she gets that name. Carol doesn't respond well to Zosha and tells her to go F herself, which sends Zosha in a bit of a shock. She tenses up, freaks out a little bit, shaking. We've seen this happen a couple of times before, but without really a reason or an understanding to why it occurs. When it happens, Carol kind of goes to the city to see what else is happening, and everybody's in that same sort of state of shock. Like they're like no one's moving. It's kind of like a hardwired reset for all the hives. And what we learn when she comes back home, Zosha's fine, standing back up. It's good. They eventually have a conversation, and Zosha tells her that, hey, we just want you to be safe. Like, we want you to be safe, calm. And Carol asks, well, you can't have me to be calm when you're killing people. And she's like, no, we don't harm people. We have not killed anyone. And she's like, well, I kind of find that hard to believe. You've killed, how many people? And she gives her a number. And then she and lets her know that, hey, when you have those outbursts, you make us feel emotional, like when you attack sort of us, we all lock up. And when we lock up, we kind of put we put others in danger. And Carol's like, wait, hold on. Did I kill anybody? And Social gives her a number, but she can tell that the number, if she gave her the real number, it would freak Carol the hell out. So she just tells her, just, a couple hundred, not a lot. And Carol's even shook by that, but it's enough where she's not as messed up as she would be if she knew the true number, which she gets later. Carol asks, are there any others like her that don't have, are not a part of the collective or aren't part of the hive? And Zosha's like, yeah, there are 12 others like you. And Carol wants to know, do any of them speak English? She's like, I don't want you guys to have to decipher or translate for me. It's like, Zosha's like, it doesn't matter if you want to talk to them, we can be there to talk to you. And she's like, no, I don't want you to be a part of this. I want to have a conversation with these 5 without earshot of any of you around. And so she's like, okay. And so she does a little pause, talks to the rest of the collective, and has them talk to the people that are there. And they set up. She's like, yeah, the 5 are willing to speak to you. We can go ahead and do that. So they get on a plane and they go to have that conversation. While they are on the plane, Zosha does give a heads up, like, hey, while we being the collective, do hope for great things from this meeting, we cannot protect you from each other. Like, we don't get violent. We don't. So if they have an outburst to you, we are just going to stand up by on the sideline. Like, we're not going to intervene. Another thing to just tell you that this hive mind doesn't do anything that they deem as being violent, while we as a people say, hey, you strip us of our identity and our soul and our right to make choice and think outside of everybody else being invasive. That is killing herself. So Carol gets to the meet and immediately is seen that she's the only one out of the English speakers who does not have a hive person that is still alive, quote unquote, in their persons. Everybody has somebody that they are attached to. There's sons, there's wives, there's parents. They all have somebody that, even though they are a part of the hive, they still can tangibly touch, smell. It's still their quote unquote son, if you will. She's the only one that doesn't have that. And so they are a lot more accepting of the hive because they still have some sort of attachment to the person that they once knew. They don't really see a need to change it. And even in that, they have the thought of like, hey, peace is here. Like, nobody's fighting. Everybody's calm and docile. Animals are loose in the zoos. We don't know why they do that, but they do. Racism doesn't exist. Like, everybody feels at one. Like, everything's good, copacetic. Like, we really don't need to change much. And Carol's like, are you shitting me right now? Like, who we are, the core of who we are, the fact that we can make choices, all of that stuff is gone. Like, you now everybody's a shell of themselves. And like, your kid, you say that's your kid, but your kid knows how to be a pilot now, or a gynecologist. Like, that's not your kid anymore. That's everybody. Everybody is now inside of your kid. Does that not bother you? So there's one parent, the mother, the child, she keeps pushing back on Carol, like, hey, real quick, why are we listening to you? Like, why are you the person that gets to be sort of the sayer of what it is that we do? Your outburst killed over 800 and some odd million people. And Carol's like, wait, what? And Zosha gives her the look like, yes, that is the correct number. I did not want to give that to you because I knew it would freak you out. But yes, that is how many people died because of that. Because what happens is, when they are yelled at or made to feel any type of emotion, they go into shock. But those people are driving cars, flying planes. And so when that happens, subsequently, tailspins happen. And so the mom has a bandage over hers because her father was driving a car and died when Carol had her last outburst. I'm sorry, the number that Carol killed was 11 million. She killed like, which is a lot. And Carol kind of like, what? And she just starts drinking more because that's her coping mechanism. It's interesting in this how they all sort of do things because there's one of these English speakers, Kumba. Kumba has sort of gamed the system a little bit and used this to his benefit. He's living in excess. He's flying on Air Force One, essentially. He is got a harem of women that he has sort of made his concubines, if you will. He's basically making them sex dolls and sex puppets. And they have to do, they're part of the hive. They're doing what it is that as a hive mind, they're doing what they do together. But yeah, he's just sort of collecting them like Pokemon, which is gross at the same time of like, oh, I could see somebody being filthy enough to do this. Like that tracks where these women no longer have autonomy over their bodies. They're no longer who they were originally. And so now they just get to have the shell of themselves being used sexually for this man's personal gain. And they're all in on it because they don't have a right. They don't have a choice. They just go with whatever whatever is said to them. And so we'll get to a piece where basically Zosha was attached to Carol as a companion. And so all these other ladies eventually were attached to them as a companion. And then were sort of given to Kumba as like, hey, can I take them or do you take them? And then they sort of offered them off and they allowed them to go with Kumba. And so now he has his harem of women. Yeah, I could see people acting like that. I can see people acting like their mom, like, nope, I know this isn't my son. I know he just told me about like gynecologists and all this good stuff, but I still see my son. So I'm still going to attach to my son. Carol starts throwing him back a little bit more and she's kind of just like done with people. She's like, you guys are ridiculous. Like, this is all insane. So she gets up to leave and she sort of, the heat stroke part and with the wine and alcohol, sort of passes out. So she goes to check on her. And Carol has another outburst, like, get the hell off me, get off me, to which locks up Zosha again, locks up all the other hive members. All their family members start doing a little shaking and freaking thing out. And that's when all the members of that sort of group of people who are not in the hive decide to just leave. Like, Carol, we out. Peace. Nah, I don't want any parts of you. We're fine with what we're doing over here. Stop freaking these people out so that my family can stay sane and safe. But please, just leave us. So she goes, gets some sleep. She wakes up and she asks Zosha immediately, like, did everybody leave? It's like, yeah, everybody's gone except for one. Kumba's here and he wants to have a conversation with you. He's like, okay, cool. So she goes to see him and his whole pitch is like, yeah, I want her. Like, I want Zosha. Like, let me have her as my sort of guide to Vegas. To just basically have my way with her. And they present the option to Zosha, but she can't make a decision out of not being able to, they can't hurt. So in addition to not being able to put physical pain, they can't put emotional pain on people. And so they then can't make a decision. They don't want to hurt either Carol or Kumba. And so they will just go with whatever is the most placating way to appease everybody. So if Carol says it's okay, that makes him happy and that makes her happy, and nobody is really in pain. And so it's a wild thing to put into place. And so Carol's like, wait, you can't make a decision. Like, you can't say no to this. Like, you as a woman are just going to go with him. She's like, if that is what you decide. And Carol's like, F it, fine, go be your sex slave. I don't give a damn. And so Carol goes back to her plane to go back to her house, and they get on Air Force One, and you can see Kumba with all his concubines kind of walking onto the plane, and then Zosha has a moment where there's no humanity there, but it's clear that Zosha kind of looks back at Carol because you can tell they're like, hey, I am saying that I don't have an opinion, but this really don't feel right. And Carol has a change of heart. While she's on the plane, she sees Zosha, looks back, and she's like, oh, shit, okay. So she gets out of the plane, runs in front of the Air Force One and says, stop. And that's how the episode ends. She's going to keep Zosha as her companion and not let her go be the F-doll for this weirdo. Such a rich world. Like in 2 episodes, he's made me think about this nonstop, and I can't wait to see where Vince is taking this next. I think the idea of having this hive mind where they're all connected, but they aren't willing to hurt each other, seems good on the surface. Like, yo, yeah, no peace, it's peaceful, it's no racism, like everybody's copacetic, everybody's getting along. But you need those things in the world to feel human, to give people autonomy, to give people rights, and people like you need to have those. And if nobody can make a decision, it's one of the worst things ever. You imagine going to a restaurant and be like, hey, what would you like to eat? It's like, I don't know. What would you like to eat? What makes you happy? Nah, give me a damn burger. I don't give a damn what you want to eat. That's kind of what's happening in this, and people have to play with that. Some on much larger scales than what you're eating. I can also see it from their viewpoint, like, my son is still here. I can still physically touch him. He looks like my son, though he may not act like it, though he may have different thoughts and he may be able to do new things. I can still feel that manifestation. He came for me. I want to keep that as long as I possibly can. And you add in a lot of the great story beats and writing that Vince can do. A lot of times where it's just sitting in silence or watching Rhea do masterful work. Like I cannot speak highly enough about Rhea and what she's doing in this show. If you're not watching Pluribus and you made it this far, you should be. Apple, I need you guys to do a better job of promoting because this is one that I don't think anybody should be missing. If you've seen it, what did you guys think about the first 2 episodes of Pluribus? Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast by the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the place podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.